Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously wherever you are in the world. So what do we do with our juice little lads? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they? Now then, my delicious babies. So it's nearly 10 p.m. in our old England, my delicious babies, in the evening. And what it is, my delicious babies, well, we've got a little bit of a red scar. Well, it looks a little bit pinky red, actually, my delicious babies. It's not the usual scar that one would see. But it's been rather warm today, so the sun's cracked out a bit, but it has been rather warm. Okay, my delicious babies. So that's the weather forecast. Okay, now it's not like myself, is it? It's not very often that I do an evening video, my delicious little babies, but I thought I would, because unless a video comes up tomorrow or something to give you information on, I probably will not be doing a video tomorrow. It just depends. But today I have managed to listen to a few videos and to write it all down so that I could give the information out to you, my delicious little babies. I feel like my flipping eyes have gone square, my delicious little babies, listening to these videos this evening, my delicious little babies. Now then, I hope that wherever you are in the world, that the weather has been beautiful wherever you are, and that life is treating you most deliciously. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so yeah, these I just felt the need to do my video this evening, my delicious little babies. There we are. I really felt the need to do this. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, and what it is, you see, is that well, how can I put it? You know, it's like hearing, and seeing. It's only a figure of speech, my delicious little babies. I'm not saying this to be sarcastic in any way, but it's seeing how the other half live, my delicious little babies, okay? But of course, there is a reason for why there we are giving these information on these videos, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Anyway, it'll probably take hours to upload my delicious little babies, okay? Not to worry, not to worry. As long as I know, there we are, that I've got the information out, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? That's, there we are, is what is most important to myself, okay, my delicious little babies. So the first one, my delicious little babies, now I'm actually halfway through this video, my delicious little babies, and they're all on YouTube, okay, again, my delicious little babies, and right, so the first one, this uploader happens to have 6.11 million subscribers, my delicious little babies, so a really rather large one. I think the most that I've seen on YouTube, is it 12 or 14 million, something like that, my delicious little babies, with different uploaders. So I suppose there we are. I suppose it's knowing where to look. There we are. It's knowing where to look, isn't it, really, my delicious little babies? Yes. So this is actually called, in the old space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies, capital D and capital W. Okay, my delicious little babies, in space, capital D, documentaries. Okay, no, documentary, sorry. Okay, my delicious little babies. So the upload with anybody not in that way, not in that way. DW space documentary. That's how it should read once it is tapped into the old space bar. Should anybody have any form of, an interest, my delicious little babies. Now then, the video should read the Global Organ Harvesting Network, DW documentary, my delicious little babies. Now this video, it's not a long one, my delicious little babies, but I just feel, there we are, that I'm just getting out, there we are, what I need to get out. This was uploaded a couple of months ago, my delicious little babies. Um, and it's just over 22 minutes long, so not a long video at all, my delicious little babies, okay? I'll just repeat it again for you. The Global Organ Harvesting Network, DW documentary, okay, my delicious little babies. So, yeah. So, just to explain this as, quickly and as briefly as I can, my delicious little babies, well, this is as well to do with Kenya as well, my delicious little babies, okay? And what it's showing, like at the start of it, you've got a young man, bless, and well, eventually he, somebody had mentioned to himself, well, you can donate a kidney, my delicious little babies, okay? And this was really, for the kaching. Do you understand what I mean, Martin? He took babies. But anyway, he had to sign a couple of, pieces of paper and everything, but not fully understanding, really, well, what he was signing properly. Do you understand what I mean, Martin? He took babies. Now, at first, they said he was too young, to donate my delicious little babies, but then they said, oh no, that's all right, we can do this. So it was meant to be given, just joining the dots, he was meant to be given, paid out, 6 grand, ka-ching, but he received 4 my delicious little babies, okay? Now, the thing is that, I mean, listening to this, and they end up, oh, yeah, it's itching, with a lot of, sorry about that, my delicious little babies, they end up with a lot of depression for many, okay, my delicious little babies, because they have ill health, okay, my delicious little babies, okay, so this is not something that one would take lightly, my delicious little babies. Okay, now in other parts of the world, anyway, I've talked about this long time. Okay, my delicious little babies. Some, bless anybody who's gone through this situation, my delicious little babies. But in other parts of the world, you know what I mean? They do not get given a choice. They just, get kidnapped off the street, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's just like that. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So, as I've said before, and I'll repeat again, this is big business, ka-ching, you know what I mean, okay? And it's not just in one part of the world. This is all, I'm not going to sing on this video, my delicious little babies. This is all over the world. Now, you see, even with the donors, when even in our old England, my delicious little babies, okay? It's like, oh, if you donate something, you're made to look like, part of your body, sorry. You're made to look like, oh, you're doing a wonderful thing. But really, there's a lot of, there we are, lower than a snake's belly, my delicious little babies, and ones cannot get any lower than that. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Like I said, this is big business, okay? I know that sometimes when I do my videos, I talk about different things on my videos, okay, that does not always sit comfortable. So I'm not here to hurt, offend, or to upset anybody. That is not why I'm here. What I'm doing is, there we are, I'm giving out information, there we are, I do it as a hobby, okay, and at the end of the day, what I want to do, it's not with anybody who already knows about this, my delicious little babies. It's for our delicious little babies who do not know the full extent of all of this, my delicious little babies, okay? Because believe you me, it goes, there we are, very deep. Okay, my delicious little babies, there we are, very deep indeed. Okay? So, I mean, really, if you look at it, nobody should have to donate or, be forcefully kidnapped off the streets. I repeat that again, Mardalish babies in certain countries, okay? Against their will, to have an organ removed out of their body. Nobody should have to go through this, Mardalish babies. See, I'm stumbling here, but I'm not changing my video. So it's well worth a little listen, my delicious little babies. I know it's not comfortable. I get it. There we are. I really, really do get it. Okay, but this is a real life. There we are, and it goes on, and it has done for many, many, many years. My delicious little babies. Okay, this is not just a 5-minute thing now. Geez, so what I mean, my delicious. So I'm just stumbling again with this. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, my delicious little babies, it's very disturbing. Very disturbing indeed. And sometimes what we've heard over the years and decades is when, because say somebody, will give to somebody else now then, okay, that they feel that, their families feel that they're doing a good thing. Well, sometimes the body can reject. So who accepts, an organ, okay, my delicious little babies, okay, it's not always successful either, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? There we are, and I've known this, there we are, for decades. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, it's well worth a watch, okay? But like I said, I'm not here to upset anybody or to depress anybody. No, I am not. I would never do that. It's just that with myself, I talk about lots of different things. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? So when something's going on in one place, there we are, then there's something else very sadly going on somewhere else. Okay, my delicious little babies, but there's a point to everything what I say. Okay, my delicious little babies, yes. So the next one, where shall I go next? They're very serious videos, my delicious little babies, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's go. We'll go to this one. This uploader happens to have 469,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies, on YouTube again, because like I said, they're all on YouTube, okay? This is all in capital letters now. It's all capitals, okay? There's no spaces. It's all capitals. So should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, my delicious little babies, it should read, the uploader, real women / real stories. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'll just repeat that again for you, all in capitals, no spaces. Real women / real stories. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. Now then, the video should read, I must see. Okay, my delicious little babies. I think this was uploaded, was it about 5 months ago? I think it could have been, my delicious little babies. Okay, because I know that there's one 5 months ago and there's one 10 months ago, my delicious. That would, anyway, I could just have it the wrong way around. The point is, I need to give out the information, my delicious little babies. I'll just repeat this again. I must see the dancing boys of Afghanistan, child abuse documentary. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'll just repeat, the other part again. The dancing boys of Afghanistan, child abuse documentary. My delicious little babies. Okay. Now then, this video is just over, I think, 52 minutes. My delicious little babies. Okay. And I mean, for myself, this is again, I mean, this is disturbing, my delicious little babies, right? And I mean, for some of you, my delicious little babies, you may have seen this, but for others of you, my delicious little babies, you may not have seen it, and this is the first time that I have seen it. I've seen other documentaries, like where you have because that's what they're called. They're called lady boys, you know what I mean? But they're usually men. you know what I mean, in different countries and everything, mad delicious little babies, okay, but this is entirely different, mad delicious little babies. It's not different in the sense where um, whichever way you look at this, it's young boys, because you know lady boys are usually men, aren't they? Mad delicious little babies. Well, that's as I've always known it to be. Anyway, mad delicious little babies. You know, hearing different videos and everything over the years, mad delicious little babies. Okay, but this is young boys. Okay, mad delicious little babies, like from the age of well, you know, very young, like 11. Mad delicious little babies. Okay. And this is actually supposed to be illegal in Afghanistan. Mad delicious little babies, but there happens to be. This is to do with you know, what they call the powerful, who've got a lot of ka-ching, ching, ching, and a lot of connections. Mad delicious little babies, yes. And what this is about is that they actually go out looking for, okay, and there's one part in this documentary where you got a pimp. Okay, my delicious little babies, you should see how he does this now. Filthy, dirty man now. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. And so what this one who's got a, you know, some ka-ching, okay, so they go out, they look up, you know, look for, and anyway, they managed to get a little 11-year-old little Ben Bless little boy. And what they then do, they take him to this, like, you know, this dancing school place, okay, my delicious little babies, okay. It's the strangest dancing sort of place I've ever seen, my delicious little babies. But anyway, and then there's somebody who's playing, it's not a guitar, they're playing something else, my delicious little babies, okay. So he like is classed as a trainer to, you know, to these young wee bairns now. Okay. Then you've got 13, 14 year olds. When they, that doesn't mean no, when they get to the age of 18, well then they're classed as no longer needed because they're not young. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, if you follow me. And what they then do is they get these young wee bairns now, these young lads. Usually they get taken in because, you know, they do not have any ka-ching monies, okay? So they want to help their families and everything like this now then. Well, anyway, the long and short of all of this is, my delicious little babies, is that they teach these young lads to dance, okay, who is, by the way, somebody's son, somebody's nephew, I should imagine, you know, because they usually have large families, don't they, my delicious little babies, somebody's grandson, somebody's brother, okay, and then they dress them in women's clothes and they have bells. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay, and then what they've got to do then is perform to dance for a lot of men. There we are, in one room, my delicious little babies, okay. Now, I must warn you that part of the video, anyway, they thought that the camera, you know, that the recorder, the camera wasn't running, my delicious little babies. Well, that's only so what they've said, okay. And they talked about one young lad, one young Ben, bless him, and one night, you know, where these men get drunk and everything, okay, my delicious little babies, and this poor young lad was in the back of a car, and well, basically, you can imagine what happened, and he just, what they said, it's all in like subtitles writing. It just says, you know, because the one's driving, the other one's talking, you know, like that now then, and said that he just lay there while they did what they wanted to do, my delicious little babies, to one of these dear dancing boys, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So that's how it can get. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes they have arguments, the men, because they want to take one of the boys home, one of the dancing boys home. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But if you see these dirty men now, then, dirty, filthy men now, all watching a young lad who's dressed in women's dress clothes, okay, my delicious little babies, in a headdress sometimes and everything as well. You should see them. It's absolutely, there we are, sickening to see. My delicious little babies. There's another one towards the end of the show where he was a dancer, you know, and what it is, they look for the really attractive ones, and they look at the way that they walk, and they, do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. I mean, this is damn well rank and disgusting, man. It's putrid. Okay. But yeah, and then you hear another one. But anyway, that dear young lad now, then bless him, because he was very scared. But anyway, so sad. But well, they killed him. Somebody did. My delicious little babies, okay, and not in a very nice way either. If you follow what I'm saying. Okay, they interviewed another young man, young, you know, lad, you know, and well, he said that he was scared, you know, because he talked to the journalist privately, and he said he's scared. So there's no way he could go, because, you know what I mean, because they'd end up killing him. But you should see it, my delicious little babies. You should see that amount of men. Now, if you imagine, if you're just a young lad, okay, and you're looking at all these dirty, filthy, putrid, it's like they're drooling, like it's just disgusting to watch. And of course, you know, you got the old Bill, you know, and they were sat in on one of it. Do you understand what I mean? It's disgusting. You know, it seems to be that little bands, bless, they seem to get the very sadly the flipping brunt of everything, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Anyway, the little 11-year-old, okay, because the journalist, he had to leave the country, because if he had stayed there, well, something else would have happened to him. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. But he did manage, that young lad, you know, managed to be reunited with his family. And then he wanted to learn English, and he wanted to get an education. They managed to get some, the journalist and others, you know, managed to get raise some kaching, you know what I mean, so that to keep him away from these type of dirty men now and predators, my delicious little babies. But please, it is it's certainly an eye opener, my delicious little babies. Let me put it that way, okay. But yeah, these are things that go on now then. And of course, you know, for the women who are married to these men, well, they never get listened to anyway. You hear it on the camera. Do you know what I mean? They just don't get listened to anyway. But, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a paedophilia? My delicious little babies. They seem to like, there we are, boys, you know, younger, and they seem to like these boys now. Dirty, filthy, putrid pieces of shit, if you ask me, my delicious little babies, okay? They certainly should not be, you know, just in my view, being in society, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But you'd be very quite amazed at how many, you know, go on, is it on a Friday, and they go and pray? They pray. So what they're doing, praying for the damn sins, or watching a young boy or two young boys dancing in women's clothes, my delicious babies. Do you know what I mean? You know, like you'll have a man, you know, who'll go up and like do this to their hair, and dirty, filthy bees, man. Do you know what I mean? Okay? But that's what happens. and with some of them, they manage, they get to 18 and that, and even one of them, he just said that when he's 18, he's going to be, you know, doing this kind of thing, to, and it's just a circle, circle, circle. But then there's other young lads, bless them, well, they're not so lucky, are they, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And of course, when these dirty, filthy men now have done what they've done, it's like they just kill them and just very sadly, I'm not too sure where they take these poor young lads now then. But anyway, for myself, it was certainly a video that I'll never forget. Okay, my delicious little babies, and it's like I said, but just please, it's not for the faint-hearted. So if you would really get very upset about this, then maybe this is not the type of video for yourself with any of these videos, my delicious little babies. I just feel that there we are, these things now should be highlighted, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes? Okay. Now, finally, again, this is on this same uploader, so it's the same real women /real stories, my delicious little babies, and then that's going to be the end of my video. Now, this video should read, it is on the same, like I said, the same uploader, my delicious little babies, okay? Children of the Secret State, North Korea documentary. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Children of the Secret State, North Korea documentary. Okay, my delicious little babies, now I'm going to close my book, so we need to remember to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. Now then, let's discuss. So, what this is about, my delicious little babies, is, well, I mean, I've known about this for years, okay, and, where they sort of cornering off certain in North Korea, my delicious little babies, there we are. I've known about this for years, okay, my delicious little babies, okay, but I've never seen this particular video. Now, when I looked in the comments, and it's also, like I said, it's very interesting to look in the comments, my delicious little babies, okay, because it's amazing, what he said. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? And, well, somebody had put that this particular video, and like I said, I don't know if it was 5 or 10 months ago when this one was uploaded, okay, because I probably got it mixed up the wrong way around, my delicious little babies, but this video is actually 24 years old. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, I mean, I've got to be honest, I had a lump in my throat and I had tears in my eyes, my delicious little babies, okay? You're looking at little babies now, little bairns, who have got no shoes on their feet, in the mud, okay? And they're stood up and they're so hungry that, they cannot even focus properly, okay? You've got adults, my delicious little babies, who are eating the food, okay, totally ignoring these little babies who are so hungry, it's unreal. They're digging in the mud with their fingers just to get a grain of rice, my delicious little babies. It's heartbreaking to see. Now, you imagine if this was 24 year, I mean, bless the beautiful, dear little souls. I mean, bless the beautiful, dear little souls that they just wouldn't be alive anymore, I shouldn't imagine. So sad. Okay? But how can adults just carry on eating while these little babies are starving? We don't like that word, but it is the damn truth. Starving to death. It's so putrid. And somebody, because it's all secret footage, my delicious little babies, okay, but somebody was, trying to take, some filming. Do you see what I mean, okay? I mean, how heartbreaking is this, my delicious little babies, okay? And that's to do with their poxy effing leader, man. okay? But of course, when tourists go, oh yes, they can eat full and there we are, they can eat full and plenty, can't they, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? I know that if I was a journalist and I'd found out all these things now and everything like this now, then it wouldn't sit right with myself sitting there and eating food. Do you know what I mean, Martin Lichtenberg babies? Now at this point, because this documentary was 24 years, but when he's speaking, the journalist, he's saying that for 5 years at that point, okay, that this had been going on for. Now, they're one who's supposed to be governing the country, Martin Lichtenberg babies, okay? So he's telling the farmers and everything not to grow food, to feed, to feed the population, in that area, bless them. But to, what's it called? What's that flower thing called? Opium. And then what would then happen is that it's grown and then everything like this now then, and then it's sold or whatever or given to the West. Then turned into heroin and everything, Mardelish baby's car. So the leader of the country, supposed to lead the country, you never seen him go hungry, Mardelish babies, or the military for that matter, Mardelish babies, Kai. Or, the little elites, as they called them on this video, Mardelish babies, Kai. No, you've never seen them go hungry. Okay? But there was so many of the land, and this was, there we are, deliberate. Okay, so then it's the same with when was it? Decades and decades ago, to do with the poppies and everything like this. Now then, delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But it's heartbreaking, absolutely. So I'm not here to depress anybody, delicious little babies, kind. And you should hear it about the camps, and he was talking to a guard who used to be a guard. You should hear that, delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And I think what he did, he drew pictures, drawings. It's absolutely putrid. Damn rent, man, putrid. Worse than putrid. But to see those poor little babies so hungry like that. And of course, if you look over the decades, delicious babies, and of course, then he went over to the journalist, I think the camera went over to South Korea. Well, I didn't want to know. I mean, can you believe that? They didn't want to know that just over the pond there, that little babies now are starving. Do you see what I mean, delicious babies, Kai? But again, well worth a watch of the video, delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And then when you looked at the aid that was supposed to be going to the little babies and everything, and to feed the little population in this place that nobody with the outside world could go in to see, you could only see the tourist place, like, like roads with no cars, delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And these tall buildings, if you follow me, delicious little babies. Well, all of this aid that was supposed to be going to those happened to be USA on it. Red Cross. Well, we know all about the Red Cross, delicious little babies over these decades, delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And the things now that they got up to. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. Well, it wasn't going there at all. Where it was going to is the military for that putrid leader. Delicious little babies. Corn and all that, delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely damn well disgusting. Again, that leader, lower than the snake's belly, delicious little babies. But it's really, I feel these videos, they are very important to listen to. Really important, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay, but this is the nastiness, but nobody in this world should go hungry, ever. And nobody should treat these young lads the way that they were being treated. My delicious little babies. Nobody should ever do that. I mean, it's their innocence. Do you know what I mean? All of these little, babies now, it's their innocence that's just taken away from them. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes, okay. But that's all I want to say, my delicious little babies. So it's going to be lights out. It broke my heart to to see these videos, my delicious little babies. Yes, we know that very sadly, there's a lot of terrible things that go on in the world. But at the same time, my delicious little babies, I mean, my heart just broke for the whole lot, to be perfectly honest with you, my delicious little babies, okay? But what I'm saying to you is that what we've got to do as well is take a look at our country in our old England, my delicious little babies, and of course around the world as well. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, what we've got going on in our old England, where some, farmers, have sold the damn souls. So what's been replaced is not food, it's solar panels. My delicious little babies. So what we meant to do, chew on solar panels, my delicious little babies, okay? And of course, with our farmers as well, when they were told, I mean, look how much food, just imagine how much food. I've seen it piled high, sky high. And then they just told our farmers over the years, there we are, just to waste it. Do you see what I'm saying to you, my delicious little babies? Okay, so there's always a point, there we are, to everything, there we are, that I do. I know that sometimes it probably seems like, I can sometimes have odd moods. No, my delicious little babies, it's just that because when there we are, everything, and you see everything, it's really hard to not see it because it's there then. It's there stored. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that, and especially with that putrid Bill Gates, buying up the land and everything. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So the fact of the matter is, this is why it's so super duper important, that we learn, not everybody, because there's many who do know how to grow their own fruit, their own vegetables. I know ones who do now, do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? But it's so that we are important, because at the rate that our putrid government's going, my delicious little babies, okay? The way I see it is, I just feel, this is how strongly I feel about it, long time, for years, okay? If our putrid governments, okay, and other governments, stumbling again, okay, every reason to, of course, if they could get away with it, there we are, they would. Do you see what I mean? Okay? But I just really felt the need, just to do these videos, my delicious little babies. It's just something, these videos is something that I'll just never forget. It's just absolutely, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, how anybody could treat others. It's really just beyond me. It really, really is. Anyway, my delicious little babies, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunny. Honey bunny, sorry. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But we also have to remember that, of course, what has gone on as well, going on, pretty sure, very sadly, it probably still is in Afghanistan. My delicious little babies, we must also remember that there's many other countries who, there we are, seem to like young boys, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Okay. And there's a lot that goes on in many countries, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Anyway, so I'm just going to end it like that, my delicious little babies. Okay, so like I said, I'm not here to depress her or offend anybody, and it probably take once again hours and hours and hours for my video to upload. But it's the way it goes, isn't it, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? When I feel the need, there we are, to say it, there we are, then that's what I do. Okay, like I said, I just do it as a hobby, my delicious little babies. Okay, but it's just amazing when you see the comments, you know, of others and what others have to say, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I should imagine that there wasn't a dry eye in the house, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. So that's that. So when ones feel sorry for leaders, no, I have zero sympathy for any leader in the world, my delicious little babies. Okay. Like I've been done saying time and time again, they know right from wrong. So they know when they're not doing good for their populations, my delicious little babies. And on that note, I will leave it like that. So if it is night time, wherever you are, please have a super duper and delicious, beautiful and wonderful night's rest. So you be aware in your cot. That's what we just call it, old-fashioned Irish saying, my delicious little babies. So you hop into your cot and then you'll be aware with the butterflies and fairies. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And if it's another time, you know, wherever you are in the world, well, please, you know, whatever you're doing, please have a super duper and wonderful time, okay? So much love. Thank you once again for even listening, for any views or any likes, and for the occasional comment. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? The other one's given up now, you know, asking me about my channel. They've given up, just put okay. Okay, so that answers that, doesn't it? You see what I mean? Don't let it drag on. Do you know what I mean? So when you're done saying twice, you don't need to say it again, do you, my delicious little babies? No. Okay? So much love. Take care. Night night. Sleep tight. Watch the bed bugs don't bite. Love ya. Bye bye.